Hello, this is Mandy from Tree Hugging Yogini. Thanks for joining me here for this short video that I want to do to honor a seasonal practice called sow-win. A little teeny brief history on sow-win. This has been around for many centuries. It is a practice that was done before Halloween. It was kind of like what Halloween was created after. Samhain is a time to honor our ancestors. This is a time when it is believed that the veil between worlds is thinner, so it's easier to have that connection with the spiritual realm. So from like October 31st through November 1st is when this is usually celebrated. So I am choosing to celebrate this as well. So I wanted to give you a few tips of what you might do to celebrate an ancestor if you feel called to. So I today am going to be honoring my maternal grandmother. Her name was Ruth, and that's a picture of her and I. She died shortly after this picture. I think I was 3 years old. So I don't really have any memories of her per se, but I have heard many stories of her and about her from my mother and other family members, and she really resonates with me as someone who is very strong-willed and entrepreneurial, creative. So I still feel like her presence around me. So I like to try to take this time to honor her and let her know how important she is to me, even in death. So this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to give you some guidance. You don't have to use this at all, but I just am popping on here to show you how I honor it, my ancestor, and maybe you might feel called to do some of these same things. So I'm going to practice having, it used to be called in medieval times a dumb supper. And what that stands for, I don't know why the name dumb, but what it really is standing for is to take time and have like a meal with your ancestor. This is a time like you would sit around the table with your current family members that are still with you. This is a way to do the same kind of thing with your ancestor, a time to catch up and to have discussions while you're sharing a meal. So I'm going to give you some like tools that I'm using for my altar and this ceremony. So I like to set up an altar. So I have this that I use like as my base just to lay down to put my other altar tools on. You'll want to have a picture, if you do have one, a picture of your ancestor, or maybe some articles of theirs. If you don't have a picture, just something that represents them. You'll want to have some candles. So I have a candle here called Crone Wisdom. It has some essential oils in it that connects with that inner wisdom and guidance system within us. So it has clary sage, patchouli, and orange. So I have that. I'm also going to use another candle, a little black candle, black honoring the season and the shadow world. Also, I'll be using crystals. So I have several here. Of course, I love crystals. So I have a smoky quartz, which is grounding, but also deflects, I guess I should say, negative energy. I have a moonstone. Moonstone, I use this because it helps connect with the shadow sides, the darker side. I also have this celestite which is good to connect with the spiritual realm. And a garnet. This is for grounding, because we want to be able to stay grounded within this energy so that it really makes a home in us, the things that we are going to gain, the wisdom, to stay grounded within the wisdom that we might be gifted. Also, I like to have a green moonstone. This is connected to Mother Nature, which is really important to me. And then I'm bringing in this citrine stone that honors my grandmother. So if you have anything that you want to bring in that's specifically for connecting with that ancestor, this is to honor the strength that she had. She was very strong-willed. She was a Leo. So I'm bringing in this citrine to specifically honor her energy. Some other things that you might want to do is to like cleanse your space once you have your altar all set up, or even before you even begin any of this, however you feel called to do it. You'll want to just cleanse the area and yourself so that you have good energy before you start working within connecting with your ancestor. You can use like sage or Palo Santo. For special occasions like this, I like to use a loose leaf blend. So I have this charcoal briquette that you put into a fireproof bowl, and then you have just this loose leaf that goes on top, and it will smoke. So you light this briquette until it ignites, and then you just put your loose leaf on top of it, and it'll smoke, and it can keep cleansing the area as you're doing your ceremony. I have in my loose leaf, I have sage, Palo Santo, sweetgrass, and lavender. So this will like burn for about an hour, so it can last for your whole duration of your ceremony. So that's what I'm going to use for this one. You also will want your journal and a pen so that you can write down any epiphanies you might have as you're connecting, any guidance you might be downloaded with. So have that handy. I also like to decorate the altar, make it pretty with some flowers or plants. And maybe if your ancestor had a favorite flower or plant, you could actually use those things if you know what they are. The same with some food. Since this is a supper of connection, you'll want to have an offering of some food. So if you know some foods that were a favorite of your relative, your ancestor, you can offer that or have that. My grandmother, I guess, had an awesome brownie recipe that she would make and take to gatherings and things. So I'll be getting that recipe from my mother and making those as part of my offering for my altar and what I'll enjoy while I'm conversing with her. Also, it might be nice if you have any oracle cards or tarot cards that you might want to use. I find that when I am working within this energy of connection with an ancestor or even to my inner wisdom, I like to pull cards because it always sparks some kind of inner knowing within me that I can usually then start journaling about. And so I like to have those on hand. Sometimes I'll use them, sometimes I won't. But for this one specifically for my grandmother, I've chosen a woman's affirmation deck, just to get a message or two there. Angels and Ancestors deck, which is what I like to use when I'm connecting with that ancestral energy. And I'm going to use this Muse tarot deck, specifically for my grandmother because she is still an inspiration for me in my life. So that Muse deck feels right for me. You might also want to have a little meditation prepared or a reading of something that might connect you with your ancestor as a way of inviting them into your space. So I like to use this Pixie Light Horse honoring voice deck, not deck, book. And for me specifically, I'm choosing to read the passage called Honoring Transformation. I am going through a lot of transformation in my life. I'm wanting to shed some old versions of myself to allow this next version to emerge as I'm stepping into retirement and traveling the world. So I feel like my grandmother is a good ancestor to work with because she had many different versions of herself through her life. She had many businesses and she was creative. She was an artist as well. So I also have some artistic tools because I might feel called just to do a little bit of art in remembrance and honoring her. So those are my altar tools that I'll be having for my ceremony. So after you set everything up and have all your tools, everything that feels like it's bringing in that connective vibe with your ancestor, some suggestions that you can do after you have cleansed your space and or in the vibe of being with that ancestral energy, you can maybe just have a conversation now with your ancestor. Maybe starting off with telling them how grateful you are and all the things about them that you respect or that they've guided you with or helped you with, or how have they touched your life. Just giving them that honoring of voicing those things to them. And then you can maybe turn it back onto yourself and talk about all the things that you are trying to achieve or the things that's happened over this past year since the last time that you perhaps connected with them during this time. Telling them your hopes and your dreams, and maybe asking for specific guidance on anything that you feel you need it. So those are just some ways that you can practice this Samhain holiday, honoring an ancestor. There are all kinds of other ways to do it. This is just my way. So I just wanted to give you a little guidance and how you could probably maybe use some of it for your own ancestor. So that's all I'm going to say for now. So I hope that you were able to have some kind of ceremony with your ancestor, have that connection, get some guidance, and keep connecting and vibing to the highest of your ability. Thank you.